So as I've been learning a bit more about mental health and well-being, there's a couple of things that have really surprised me. And one of those is some of the stats around who mental health impacts. Because I genuinely thought mental health impacted a certain demographic more than others, and that being males of around 40 to 50-year-olds. Well, what's really surprising, to me certainly, was 1 in 4 women will suffer from depression compared to 1 in 10 men. And so this series, I'm really excited that Charlotte Ramsay is going to join me, and we're going to talk to Charlotte about her struggles that she's had. Charlotte is a really successful individual in numerous areas of her life. She's worked in one of the best private physiotherapy clinics for the past 13 years. She's competed in numerous body image competitions. She's won Miss Universe, Miss England, Miss UK, you name it. She's a lovely, bubbly personality. I would have had absolutely no idea that she ever struggled from mental challenges and health until she came out and just told me one day. Hopefully a lot of people get a lot out of this, because I know I was very surprised with just your story when you started to share bits of it with me. So hopefully it could help some other people as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. At the time, I didn't realise I was depressed. It's not until now where I feel so much happier, where I look back and I think, do you know what? I think that actually was depression. Like, I thought it was more of like just a low point and possibly hormones, etc. But looking back now, I can see like where it all stemmed from.
So let's talk about timescale then. How many years ago are we talking when you started to feel and think that way?
Probably about 10 years.
Okay.
I noticed like dips in my mood and changes, but I think it truly stems back to my teenage years. My dad passed when I was 13, and I don't think I ever dealt with it properly. I think I dealt with it very surface level. I don't remember a lot from that time, and I think my way of dealing with it was taking control of other things. So I started to have a bit of an obsession with exercise and the way I looked. And I do think that was just control. I had very much disordered eating and just got very carried away with it.
I didn't realise disordered eating is actually linked to mental health. So I didn't make that link myself. So was that, you think, because of what Stemmy you talked about with your father, or do you also think that was linked to because you've been really successful in the body image stuff that you've done? Miss You, I mean, it's just outrageous, some of the titles that you've won, right?
I think I tried to overcome the disordered eating because I was very much craving a certain physique which was very unattainable, like the size 0 at the time. And I thought I was overcoming it by starting to eat more food, but I just kind of took that control into another way. So like, I definitely got better with my eating because I got to a point where I was pretty much starving myself, hammering the gym and making myself sick. Then when I started working at Cosgrove's and Stuart helped me sort of come away from that, eat more food to get more muscular and toned, which is what I wanted, I then took it all into the bodybuilding side. But as much as it did help my disordered eating to a degree, it still involved dieting and getting down to low body fat levels, which then led to binging instead of making myself sick. So it just kind of was me, again, probably controlling things and finding a way to sort of make myself happy in the bodybuilding, but it was all an external validation of happiness again. And I think there was glimmers of me not feeling happy in a low mood, but this whole bodybuilding and winning these titles was so amazing that I just kept going with it all. I think I was just craving this, I don't know, this achievement and winning, and I loved it at the time. And I loved trying to look a certain way and achieving it and being able to like sculpt my body in a certain way, and I did enjoy it at the time. But then after 5 years I realised that it just wasn't bringing me the happiness I wanted anymore. And that's when I think I started to realise that I needed to work on myself a bit more, because when I stopped bodybuilding I didn't know what to do, wasn't enjoying the gym. Luckily I found CrossFit and got into that. But then I think I just started to realise that now I didn't have bodybuilding, what else could I do? It was like, what else? It's when we went into lockdown, I think when I couldn't do anything, it just sort of highlighted that there was stuff internally that I needed to work on because my mood just really dropped and I wasn't happy at work. I just started crying for no reason.
So on that bit, so you've got into this period, you started to be more self-aware.
Yeah.
You've then started to, you've said that this is starting to come out, you're starting to feel these different moods, you're starting to express in terms of just crying. When or did you start to talk about this with others?
Yeah, I did. I was quite outspoken, just with John and my mum, my sister. And it was my mum that said to me, how about talking to someone? How does that feel? And it did just make me think maybe I do need to speak to someone. Obviously, losing a family member so young is quite a big deal, and to not have dealt with it, I think it can come back and bite you in the bum later on in life. And I think my mum and my sister knew that I probably needed to talk about that because I can be quite closed. So yeah, I realised maybe I need to go and chat to someone, which I did.
So this is then a therapist, a professional?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And again, I kind of was very much I don't think it's depression. I think it's really strong PMS symptoms because I went through waves. And she very subtly hinted that I needed to speak to the doctor. And I'd mentioned to the doctors PMS symptoms a lot before, which I thought was the root cause of it. And you could temporarily go on antidepressants for what they call PMDD, which is a really strong form of PMS. So I trialed these antidepressants for part of the month where you get these symptoms. So you'd have the antidepressants for 2 weeks and then you'd come off them for 2 weeks where you should feel back to yourself again. And it didn't do that with me. And the counsellor never said anything, but she said, I think you need to be on them full time based on what I was saying. I wasn't wanting to socialise, I wasn't doing the things I normally did. So I think looking back, it did represent depression. They say it's PMS on steroids, so you're just very sensitive to the hormone fluctuations that happen throughout the month. And you can get PMS symptoms from 2 weeks of the month rather than just the normal 7 to 10 days. And they're just a bit more intense, and some people feel like they want to take their lives with PMDD, but that's not where I was at. It's just an intense PMS, but that's what I put my moods down to. But I think now I've come away from it, I'm not on the antidepressants. I know what's PMS and I feel it, but it's not what I was going through then. That was definitely different.
Did that change anything? Did they help?
Yes, it massively helped,
okay.
yeah.
So literally, the period of where they said 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, you felt no difference. Going on them for a consistent period, it helped massively.
Yeah, massively, yeah. Another thing that wasn't making me happy is I didn't feel fulfilled in my work. Looking back now, I still do the same job and I'm happier in it, but it wasn't fulfilling me. So I looked into my values, my passions, and since I'd done a lot of self-development work and mindset work, I knew that was a big part of it as well that I wanted to help people with. So then I came across health and wellness coaching. To be honest, I wasn't even quite sure where it was going to go, but I just decided to do a course. And I'm very much the sort of person, when I decide to do something, I do it properly. I've been doing that for 2 years really now, and I could feel that it was just, I love it. And yeah, I just could feel myself better. So I tapered off them really slowly because I thought if anything triggers my moods, I can just go back on them again. And then I didn't even feel the difference, and I probably feel happier than I was when I was on them. Yeah, and I just feel like I've got the right balance. I'm fulfilling my passion in my coaching, and I'm still helping people in the physio as well. 2 days a week, coaching 3 days a week. And yeah, I don't know, I just think everything feels like it's come together.
So that's interesting then. So the medication clearly helped.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you think without the medication you wouldn't be where you are now? Do you think that was part of the journey and that helped, or do you think it's different?
Yeah, so I think the medication was like a crutch for me until I realised what I needed to change. So I think for me it was just going back in time and understanding things from my teenage years that I just needed to probably talk about more than anything.
And who was the talking was with the therapist?
Therapist, yeah. My family.
Okay, right.
Family as well.
So mum, sister,
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
Right.
Then addressing what wasn't making me happy at work, and that meant a lot of self-development. Literally, what is it? Understanding what's not making me happy right now. How can I change that? So yeah, I did different courses. I understood my personality type, my values. It took a while to figure out who I was in a way. I truly found something that I knew that would fulfill everything that makes me happy in a way.
And there's a lot of stuff now with this being more common. I still don't think common enough, and with more people talking about it, I still don't think people talk about it enough. There's a couple of common themes that I tend to hear. Understanding where you were in that first place and accepting, you had to accept that I'm not happy, something's not right.
Yeah.
Seeing what you can do to address it, so talking about it, going seeing a therapist, understanding, learning about it, trying the different things that you can help you.
Yeah. John will laugh because I was like, we need to just start trying things that we never do. So I took him pottery making.
Hold on, right. Please tell me you've got a picture of him pottery making.
He was better than me.
Okay, brilliant.
So yeah, it was just right, what can you do that pushes yourself out of your normal and just see what you love to do? And so yeah, I just tried everything, and I think that helped as well.
Do you describe yourself as back to being the Charlotte that you were? Or would you describe yourself as a Charlotte that's even beyond that? Or do you get what I'm trying to...
Definitely a Charlotte that's beyond that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll never forget when I was in my early 20s, when me and John were together at the beginning, I used to say to him, I feel like there's a cloud above my head and it's stopping me from being like that childlike happiness I used to always have.
Are you glad you went through what you went through?
I wouldn't change it, yeah. I don't know about the word glad, but I don't know. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't change it because I wouldn't be who I am today if I'd not been through the tough times. I think people that have been through tough times come out the other side because they appreciate things on a whole new level.
What 2, 3 things, I don't know, what would you recommend someone that could be in a similar position to that now? What could they do to help?
Definitely talking to those closest to you, because I think sometimes, like you said yourself, people don't really know what's going on the inside sometimes. So unless you say something, people don't know. And then just really look at what's contributing to that unhappiness, what isn't making you happy, what needs to change, and be proactive at doing that.
Charlotte, I said at the beginning and I'll say it again, it's not easy to talk about this. It's not easy to share your experiences. I massively appreciate you agreeing to do this, sharing your story, being so open and honest, and I'm certain it's going to help someone out there. I really am. Massive, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problems.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I thought that was ace, that.
Oh, thank you.
So as I'm finding out a lot as I do more about this, it's not easy to talk. It gets easier, but it's not easy. So I hope you enjoyed that piece from Charlotte. All of Charlotte's details are going to be below. Added to your social, she's doing some brilliant stuff. She talks a lot more about this that might be able to help you if you're in a similar position or know others who are. Make sure you give her a follow and drop her a message and say thank you and ask her any questions you want.